Hey everyone. Alright, so first thing to talk about is that ending where Natsuki sneaks up behind Club Jim and seemingly strikes a deal with him, the database in exchange for Mafuyu. And honestly, this is one of those turns where I honestly couldn't say how it's gonna go because while I would like to believe Natsuki is luring Club Jim into a trap, simultaneously Natsuki's motivations have remained fairly linear throughout this arc, with his sole focus being on his brother, like finding his brother, making sure his brother is safe. Like even through all the times he's like teamed up with Shin and Akira, it's never really remained clear that he actually bonded with them. Like I'm sure in some extent he did, but even when he does, at the end of the day, his brother's always still in the back of his mind. So if this is him truly switching sides and throwing the others under the bus, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the route it goes. Like it feels like not like Natsuki's using this as the perfect chance in order to find his brother. Although I will say though, I think the deciding factor in all of this of where Natsuki is going to ultimately land on the morality loyalty scale though is what happens after he successfully rescues Mafuyu, because if there's one thing I think that has shown through Natsuki's character when it comes to Mafuyu he he loves his brother so much. He seemingly has such a love and bond with his brother that I think Natsuki would that I feel like Natsuki would basically hold Mafuyu's word in high regard, and basically and choose to honor whatever Mafuyu decides to do. So I feel like Mafuyu is gonna once Mafuyu is safe and reunited with Natsuki, I feel he is gonna carry the deciding vote on where Natsuki ultimately lands. Like ultimately, it's gonna be his brother who basically convinces him to in order to fight, in order to protect the school and whatnot, in order to affect the JCC and whatnot. I feel like that kind of feels like the route this is going. Like this is kind of how this is kind of how the would just even though we haven't seen Natsuki and Mafuyu kind of interact yet, I can already it already kind of feels like that's the kind of dynamic we're headed for when that does happen, and Natsuki's probably going to be kind of coerced by his brother in order to help, I think. um, with that said, after fighting their way through the mind-controlled students, Amane and Shin reunite with Byodo, where we get an interesting reveal that while Byodo does know Uzuki's secret, he also says it's information that's potentially useless to Shin and Taro. And now you've got me intrigued and a little worried. Intrigued because that could potentially mean that Uzuki's secret is potentially tied to the JAA in some way, hence the reason why it might not be useful to them, as whatever Uzuki's secret is, it could also mean Taro and Shin having to go rogue against the organization itself. But on the flip side of that, I also know where shit like this tends to go. Whenever a character gives a MC a very vague answer to a question or desire they have, it's it it's likely we're not going to be getting the answer at all after this is over, whether they succeed in protecting Byodo or not. Like this is going to be one of those things that does get that does get dragged out a little longer, and I really wish that basically Yuto Suzuki was gonna buck that trend, but again, I highly doubt he will after reading this chapter. It just feels like we're not gonna get the answers we want. At least not yet, because but I will say this. I do think we are still going to get something in the aftermath of this arc, mostly a reveal of Taro's past. Like, that just feels like something that has to happen given everything that's happened up to this point, and how slowly we've seen pieces of Taro's life and past before retirement basically like pretty much completely unravel with this arc. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think regardless of how this arc ends, I think Taro is going to be forced in order to reveal a lot about his past pretty much Shin at this point. Like, it feels like it's on the table to happen. It's just a matter of waiting for the dust to clear on all of what we're seeing right now with this. And with that said, yeah, there's not a whole lot more to talk about with this chapter other than we get a little more with Sakamoto versus Kanaguri fight. Although, if we take Kanaguri's boasts at face value, the man's ready to really pop off, especially now that he's supposedly, I think up to this point, saying he's gauged Taro's strength. So, while obviously Taro's still going to probably defeat Kanaguri by the end, we're definitely going to see the latter get a few more licks in. And I'm not going to lie, though, with the setup between this and the thing going on with Club Jam, I'm generally curious exactly how Kanaguri is going to escape now, because if my prediction about what happens with Natsuki and Club Jam holds true, then it's looking like Club Jam is going to be the key to helping Kanaguri escape from this whole thing, outside of the possibility of him laying a brutal smackdown on Taro. But even in that scenario, I think the most one-sided, still going to be the most one-sided slugfest, with Taro getting some licks in. So I think at this point it is very likely that Club Jam is going to be the one that basically has a way in order to allow like Kanaguri to escape. Like it's the one thing I'm spoiled on, but I'm like, with the way things are playing out now, it's just kind of fascinating exactly how Kanaguri is going to escape from this necessarily. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe from Blue Sky, and Control. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just shove it around, guys. Dark Knight of Me, signing off. Later, everyone.